My name is Juanita Archuleta and I work on the NinjaTrader business development team. We have a very special event for you today with Will Busby of Pure Financial Academy. I would like to mention it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures, contracts, and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker, and you could even include losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the following link that I am putting in the room for more information or for a full copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor a recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to our NinjaTrader brokerage directly at the following email address and phone number if you have any questions. Thank you for joining us today as Will Busby shows us his logical method for qualifying tradable supply and demand levels. Thank you again for your attendance, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Will Busby. Go ahead and take it away, Will.
Hello, everyone. So first and foremost, thanks, Juanita. I really appreciate the introduction and the time and effort that you guys all put into these webinars. Of course, I want to, as always, say a special thanks to everyone in the room. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. I only hope that today can be as beneficial and advantageous for you all as you were hoping for it to be. So I think we're going to have a little bit of fun today, and unfortunately we're very limited on time. A lot of times we get in the webinars, we can span them out, you know, when it's in our own room, but we have to condense as much information in a short period of time. So I do ask that if you guys don't mind, if you'll hold your questions towards the end of the session, promise I will take some time and get out to Q&A and spend as much time there as I possibly can. So we're going to be doing some things today that are pretty nice. Most recently, we had a member ask us to do some market replay stuff. You know, I don't really use a lot of market replay with NinjaTrader simply because, or any platform, of course, but NinjaTrader is the only one really that I use. So, you know, I just haven't done it a lot because I haven't really needed to. I don't find much of a need to. But I gotta say, guys, it is such a wonderful tool because when they asked us to do it, we started doing it. And in the past, like this week, yesterday and the day before, we literally were able to cover 2 weeks worth of trading in, you know, in market replay, of course. But what's great about that is the educational component of it, right? So that part helps a lot, I think. And hopefully, you know, I don't know, I think I saw some familiar faces in the room, but anyway, guys, I think it's pretty beneficial to be able to see, and we are going to do that today as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Let me get out to the slides really quickly here. Obviously, Juanita went over the disclaimer for you guys. Definitely want to be aware trading has a lot of risks. Okay, we can lose lots of money, just like we can make it, so we all want to be aware of that as we are. A little bit about PFA, guys, acronym Pure Financial Academy. We're an online trading education community dedicated solely to supply and demand / if you will, order flow methods. So we provided material and software to individuals looking to learn about trading since 2009, so for a long time. We believe in the power of having others on the same path as yourself. Having them there to support you is really crucial, just in our opinion. So our mission is to provide a positive and effective environment for all traders and investors who do wish to utilize supply and demand trading methods. And also, of course, share their experiences with others as a team. So, you know, I and team, right? All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward. And again, guys, typically I have a little bit of a sense to ramble, so I'm going to try not to do that today given the amount of time we have. So, again, Pure Financial Academy, guys, a little bit of a presentation overview. I'm going to briefly, and I do mean very briefly, cover a little bit about, you know, what we do, our methodology, our thought process, our software that we use in trading, and then of course we'll get out to the live, to market replay, and I'm also going to look at the live charts as well. So we'll look at real-time data too, not just market replay. I just want you to see how it works, and I'm not going to go back and try to find something fancy, guys. I'm not going to go back and find something that worked 6 months ago or, you know, even a few weeks ago or something like that. I'm just going to play the most recent data, which is yesterday. That's the most recent that I could get. Market replay, you can't actually get the data until, of course, the day has completed itself, so I'm just going to use yesterday's data. Okay. All right, guys, a little bit about supply and demand. It's our belief that masses of order flow control the movement of price, and that's for any financial market. So to increase the probability of locating the masses, we incorporated a very methodical or strategical approach using supply and demand zones. That's our PFA zone suite. They represent the zones, they represent where the most likely existing, where they most likely exist. That's to say where the order flow potentially resides, right? All right, so we're trying to get a forward-thinking approach here, guys. We don't want to create a lagging indicator approach because it's not that indicators aren't great. They absolutely are. In fact, our zone suite is technically an indicator, right? So we're not saying that. We're simply saying that we don't want to use lagging information because we want to do things with a forward approach. What we can do to, maybe for the rest of today or tomorrow or a year from now, whatever the case may be, long-term or short-term trading. So the zones are, of course, as we said, they are used indeed for future purpose, not lagging or historical. Okay. To keep this very basic, I'm pretty sure everyone in the room is maybe already familiar with supply and demand trading in general, but perhaps you're not, and I'll just give you a brief explanation of this. When qualified, that's the real key word right there, when qualified supply zones are reached, the expectation is that price will be driven down, meaning that it will drop due to the mass of sell orders being executed and also the lack of buyers at that location. So again, when we reach a qualified supply zone, again, qualified zone there, we're just expecting price to drop away. So it's not that all the zones produce drops away. They certainly do not, and that's the key word, qualified there. So our methodology in combination with the zones, that's where we really get into our overall trading, right? Not just the zones, not just, the methodology. They're, two in the same, I suppose. And just the opposite, guys. When qualified demand zones are reached, the expectation is simply that price is going to rally from that particular location. So for those of us not familiar with supply and demand trading, when we get out a little bit on the chart, you're going to see it, and when we go through the presentation. But basically, it's very different, but you could think of it, because I'm pretty sure we're all aware of support and resistance in the market. And what I mean by that, the common thread that they have is that resistance and supply are always above current price. And that, in my opinion, is pretty much one of the only things that, they are the exact same with. But they're both above current price, whereas support or demand is both below current price. Again, perhaps one of the only things that they're identical in nature. For the most part, supply demand versus support resistance is quite different. In fact, it's an entire section in our course that we have. So pretty different. Okay. So let's talk really quickly about types of order flow. So we know that there's supply, we know that there's demand, and that's just really terminology, guys. That's all it is that we're using, just like many people, just, everyone uses support resistance, supply demand. So it's not about the terminology, it's about how you use it, right? But we want to focus in on two types of order flow specifically, one being historical. Now, what in the world does that mean, right? So historical, this is orders that were placed at a previous time which were never actually executed or filled, if you will, and they still remain on the exchange waiting to be filled. Now, please understand that I don't want to take away from the term historical. That could mean it could mean a lot of things, right? Pretty much anything that happened in the past. But we're talking specifically now about order flow and the type thereof. Okay, so historical order flow in what we're defining right now is exactly that. It's orders that were placed that were never filled, but they're still waiting there. Okay, they still want to be filled, but they just didn't get filled when they initially placed their orders. So what would that be? That would be like your buy and sell limit orders. It would have to be, this has to be true, because you cannot have a market order sitting out there without getting filled, right? In other words, if I wanted to sell at 2,000 and I placed a sell market order, then I'm instantly going to be filled. Okay, but a limit order, if I placed at 2,000 and price is trading at $19.99, I'm still never going to get my fill, because I'm dictating where my price point must be or better. And so that's the only possibility. The next of which is current order flow. So this is going to be orders that are placed as we arrive to a location. So by location, we're talking about the supply and demand in the market, right? So the zones, if you will, or just the general support and resistance locations. These can indeed be market orders, stop orders too, right? So stop market orders, so on and so forth, both to the buy and sell side. I don't think you guys can see my mouse, but that's okay. I'm going to move pretty quickly here anyway. To the left, what you can see, guys, this bluish circle there, basically. What I want to point out there is that that's where historical orders are. Now, typically, this slide has it's like animated, so you kind of see it as we go. But in this case, it's not capable of that, so we're just going to kind of walk through it as we speak. So the historical orders, this is where price or the orders were long ago. Whatever the price point was, it doesn't really matter. But whomever sold there, we know they sold because price dropped away from the area. So we know there was more willing sellers there. It dropped away. We got that. But there's a lot of them there. We know that because it dropped away. Okay. So those orders, as price leaves, I know you've probably all heard the whole thing about chasing trades. Don't chase your trade, right? So what happens is those people go to place the sell orders, and then you have the traders who kind of get emotional, or maybe they don't. Maybe there's just a bunch of sellers willing at that particular price level, and they just can't get filled because there's so many of them. And that's the goal. That's what we're looking for. Point being, guys, those orders still sit there. Okay, not all of them. Some of them get canceled. Some of them get replaced. It really just no one can predict that. We certainly can't. But we do want to focus on it because the possibility of them being there, I mean, at the end of the day, what is trading? Is simply probabilities, right? So we want to use that in our favor. And if you look to the right, little blue circle, that's a representation of the current orders. And what we're saying there is those are the sellers that are placing their sell limit orders when we arrive back at this location. Typically, that's going to be us, okay? So we're going to use the historical order flow in combination with the current orders, again, that being us, and we're going to hope for a very good outcome at that particular location. So by combining them, the probability of a future market turning point, of course, it increases substantially. All right? Supply and demand, guys, I need to move a little bit faster so I can get out to the charts. To the left side there, we know that there was a large amount of sellers because price declined very substantially away from that area, and it dropped, a very long way, if you will. Okay. Actually, that slide is not animated either. Okay, no problem. So to the right side, this is demand. So again, supply would be above, demand would be below. And the same thing to the right there. You have a large mass of buyers, and we know that because price rallied very strongly away from this area. Now again, guys, at the end of the day, we cannot predict how many orders are actually left there. We just don't know that, the answer to that question. But by combining our methodology with it, we can use trend analysis, we can use a plethora of different items to increase our probabilities, and not only just of the historical orders being there, but I would say equally as important, new orders getting placed there. Because at the end of the day, I don't really care where the order comes from. I just want them to be in agreement with me, right? Just like you'd want them to be in agreement with you. So we all need to do the same thing at the same time, and that's what creates the large turning points. Okay, so just an image here, large historical selling above. Look to the right there, expectation becomes current sellers, which should turn price from that particular location again. To the downside, we have large historical buying, that's indicated there in the green rectangle. And you can't really read that text there, but that also says expectation of current buyers. So we see the historical locations, and our simple thought process is that, hey, history repeats itself, not always. But again, if we really find the true imbalances in the market, it is very rare, guys, that it does not. Okay? Very rare. It cannot. It's a physical impossibility to go through a location if all the orders are not filled. Okay? It's not going to happen. All right, so anticipating order flow on a price chart, the formation of those historical buyers, guys. So the historical orders likely still exist. due to the fast departure leaving and no time to actually fill those orders. So it's happening very fast, and a lot of people are wanting to chase the trade up, but the professionals go, okay, well, let them do that. We're going to sit here and wait where we know, if it goes through this area, we know we're proven wrong. Okay. So the current buyers see that, and they can then anticipate a potential entry going forward. And that's where we come in. So we're going to try to anticipate that in the future. We're not trying to predict where the turns are going to occur. We're letting them occur, and then we're reacting to it. Okay. All right, so let's try, goodness, I'm really pushing time here. Let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. I was going to talk about our tool, but I think it's best that maybe we just get on out to the charts and look at it. So I'll kind of skip through all this functionality, guys, and we'll go look at it on the price chart. But as you can see there, I'm skipping through a lot of just stuff I really don't want to skip through, but I have to. So our software, very extensive, lots and lots and lots of functionality. Whether you love it or not, I don't know. That would have to be up to you. I can't really persuade you. I just want you to see what it does, and then you can make an educated decision. All right. So there, as you can see, guys, again, lots of functionality. We'll come back to this in a moment. We'll talk about the community and all that good fun stuff. But for now, let's pop on over to the screen share. And I think there's some questions coming in. I'm so sorry, but I promise I will try to get back to those. No problem. Hey, Juanita, would you do me a favor? Could you enlarge, I don't know how the participants are seeing it. Is it the proper view for them? It looks very small on my end.
It's going to show smaller on your end just because it shows basically like a screen share of yours, but it is fit to screen for all the viewers, so they are seeing it in regular screen mode.
All right. Thank you so much, Juanita. That's all I needed to know. That's perfect. As long as you guys are seeing it, I'm good to go. So what I'm going to focus on is the SP futures. So this is, one of the most broadly traded markets in the world, as you all know. The futures contract I prefer, but it's the same as, say, like SPY. If you're an equities trader, those are the SPDRs, ETF fund. Lots of different funds, but basically this is the futures contract for the S&P 500. All right, representation of that. So what I like to do, guys, is, again, it's a personal preference here, but I have become very accustomed to the 25,000 volume chart. I would say it's pretty equivalent to the 30-minute time frame. They're different because it's volume basis time, or I would say versus time, but they, around if I had to put two of them together, I'd say the 25,000 and the 30-minute, maybe the 50,000 and the 60-minute, something like that. But I like this very much, okay? I want to focus on the method here for just a moment. And guys, I'm very limited on time, so obviously I cannot go through the entire methodology, but let's kind of get some of the basics right here. These zones, the green zones, as we talked about, are our demand levels. That's the zones happening below where current price is, okay? We can revert back into them, and that's where we can take action. So we see the reaction. We see how powerful or lack thereof power the level in itself has, and then by that information we can know how to react to it. So let's just kind of pop through. I want to first and foremost strongly encourage you guys to see the larger picture here, because this is everything to us. And what do I mean by that? Well, look, if we don't see the possibility here, we're never going to even look at that smaller time frame. So this chart, the larger time frame, larger picture, in my case being the daily, it could be even larger. But in my case, it's the daily, and this is literally what tells me to trade long, trade short, do neither, or do both, okay? So everything that I'm about to tell you guys, I'd be more than happy to let you, hopefully there's some members in here that can concur or even tell me, true or false, right? Everything I'm going to show you is exactly as covered in our live room. I'll even show it to you on our forum, so just so you guys know, I'm not saying anything, try to sugarcoat it here. It's going to be exactly as we discussed it in advance. All of this was done in advance. I'm just recapping it now. So when we go here and we look at this, this is a very strong departure to the downside. Okay, so you can see our red zone there. We've sold off from that area. What our anticipation is here is that we've been in an uptrend. So over the past 24 hours, we expected price to keep moving to the upside. But so what we did here isn't very important. We did not go here and say, okay, it's time to buy. We use very specific rules of engagement. And right here we said, no, actually we don't want to be the buyer. So when price looks something like this, we actually said, hold off, let's be patient here. We don't want to be the buyer. In fact, if anything, we want to be taking some very, very, very short-term sell opportunities. Okay, that would be like scalp trading, which we don't really do. But anyway, that being said, that's how we would approach it. So we went on to say, okay, look, there's a very specific strategic way that we want to approach this in order to become that buyer. Because we do want to buy, we just have to let price fulfill what we require in order to do that. So what we wanted to see was that 2688 get taken out, and we covered in the room, we said if that level gets taken out, then we'll be the buyer into our demand levels. And furthermore, if we get above the 2718 quarter, and I'll show you on the forum where we were basically posting that, we pointed out a trade opportunity and whatnot, but we said very specifically 2718.50 was where we started to see, or where we expected, if you will, to see the supply start to come into the market. So we'll walk through all of this real quick. But basically, guys, you can see where we went up and took out that high of 2688 there, I believe it was. I want to say, yeah, 2688. Okay, so let's go down to the smaller time frame, because that in itself just gave me permission. It says, okay, look, now you have permission to start buying the market, but there's very key ingredients here that we have to have, right? And what's very important about this is that just because we have a zone on the chart does not make it a viable opportunity. We have to therefore qualify it and make sure, and this is a very big component of what we do, make sure that the profit potential exceeds the risk. Doesn't make sense. It's not logical to take trades that are that have more risk than our reward. That you're probably setting yourself up for pretty massive failure there. So I'm just going to speed this up in case I don't have time to explain how the playback works here, but basically we have the option here to speed this thing up, and I'm going to pretty much just go pretty fast here. So what we're looking for, guys, again, now as you can see, we're looking up here and we want to see price rally up, right? We're looking for price to rally up and take out that location so that we know that it's time to potentially start to buy again. So let me just max it out here for a second. Okay, so price is rallying up, right? But we're running into a supply level. We'll just keep going here. Bear with me. It will make more sense in just a moment. So notice that remember that 2688 level was crucial, right? So if I pause this for just a second and I step back, we're always reevaluating. So we're reevaluating what price has done versus what it has not. And as you can see, it clearly has taken out that area. And again, that told me that it's okay to start buying this market. So what I could do is I could go down here and I could place a buy limit order into this potential location right here at the 2669 3/4. Okay, so if I enlarge that, I'll do that there, and then I'm just going to, again, continue playing data. Now, what's important about this is that level has a very large profit potential. Okay, very large. In fact, what I know right now is that if I enter here, my target could be all the way up here because I've already gone that far. So I know anything that was previously back here cannot be anymore. Remember in the beginning of the presentation we talked about the impossibility to go through something. So if there was one order back here, it just could not have gone any higher. So I know for a fact as of right this very moment that there are 0 orders back here up to this exact price point. Why didn't you touch the high, you might ask? Well, because there may be one single order. There may be 10, 100, 150, 1,000, I don't know, that literally stop on the actual tick. So that's why I want to say the information one tick below that particular price level. Okay, but above it, I just don't know. There could be a lot of supply. So we use that information for our target destinations. So if I go, again, I got this maxed out. It's going to move very fast. So what I don't want to see right here is a higher high. Again, I really don't have, I'm so sorry. I wish I had all the time in the world, guys, but you know how it is, and I try to max it out as much as I can. I did a webinar not too long ago, and one of the guys of the company came back to me, and he was like, he was kind of giggling. He was like, "Wow, man, you covered a lot of material in a very short period of time. I was like, oh, you know, we try, right? Okay, so let's look at what's happening right here. So we want to ask ourselves about the profit potential, right? So let's pause this for just a moment. And this is important right here, guys. This is very important. So what we could do is we could go up and we could start buying into the market, yeah? But in order to do that, I want to make sure that my profit potential is there. So if I'm going to buy here, is my reward greater than my risk? So let's move this up now, okay? And I'm asking myself, is my risk here larger than my reward, is it larger than my risk? Well, let's take a look at that real quick. What do I know? I know for a fact that we've gone, you know, that far. Is that larger than my risk? It is not. Okay, so what I want to do is just cancel that order, because logically speaking, that doesn't make sense. In other words, guys, if I do that several times and I lose on them, I'm in trouble, right? So now price is kind of showing me something. It's showing me a bit more profit potential, yeah? So now the risk is looking much better. It's larger than my reward. So for that particular reason, I could go down here and pop that order right back in, and I could take that entry. Now, before I do that, really quick, I want to just reevaluate. Let's reevaluate. We're always doing this. And so we need to go up here and look at the larger time frame. And again, have we revisited our 2718 quarter area and above? That's to specify 2718 50s, right? Have we reached that? No, we have not. Do we still have room to run? Yes, we do. Okay. So in that particular case, now I have no reasons not to be a willing participant to the upside as a trend following trader. Okay. If I'm looking for the significant supply and demand in the market, I'm not going to find it in the context of a trend, guys. Okay, it's going to be above and below the trends. How do I know that? Well, how did that trend begin? Isn't it because significant demand or supply formed it? It always is. It's not just sometimes, it always is. So the absolute and significant supply and demand is always above or below. It's never in the context of. And so what I'm saying is this is not institutions typically doing this. I'm not saying never. I don't really know, right? I don't have some... I can't really see into that. I don't know who's pushing the buttons, but I'm pretty sure that it's not an institution buying right here. So that's why we don't look for enormous profit targets. We simply look for a destination which we know has already occurred, and it should be able to repeat itself. So right here, I want to take note of this area, right? And I want to ask myself the same question. Could I do this? Well, you could, but is your risk or reward larger? Well, my reward is much less than, so I'm going to cancel that order. Okay, so now if I play through this a little bit, my requirement now becomes I need enough profit potential, A, to keep me in an uptrend, and B, to show me that my reward is much greater than my risk. So that's what it's really all about, guys. We just have to know that even if I'm right 51% of the time, I'm going to make great money, right? I'm not saying that any of us will. But I'm saying, logically speaking, it's not really possible not to. So if you're right 51% of the time and your risk is always smaller than your reward, logically, you know, you would be making more, right? Okay. So right now, you know, unfortunately, I'm not going to go place this buy limit order right here because of that simple fact. I simply do not have enough data yet, but now I do. So hold the phone right now because something just happened. This is where demand continues to exceed supply. Now we are into a supply level. So this is where we want to go ahead and understand the difference between short-term versus long-term, even swing trading. But I'm going to go back here and pop off an order real quick. And this was actually the trade that was pointed out on our forum. I'll be happy to show you that in just a moment. If I can get my order, what's going on here? There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to play through this real quick, guys. And again, I'm expecting that sellers could come in right up there, but what do I know for a fact right now? As of right now, guys, let me pause this for a second. As of right now, I know for a fact that there is 0 sellers up to that price point. It is not possible, okay? But what I also know is that here and above, I don't want to fight. I don't know. While there may not be, I simply don't know. There's no way for me to logically tell that, okay? All right. So I like to trade what we know, you know.
Order filled.
Okay. So in this case right here, I'll just kind of show it to you how it was pointed out. If I move this down, of course we could do it this way. We could have multiple profit targets. There's, you know, a lot of different ways to do things. But this is and was discussed as a very short-term trade because of the larger time frame location, because of, you know, we're after a very, you know, it's been trending up for a while, right? So that being said, I want to use that information, okay? I already know that I've gone this far. So what I can do is use that to my benefit, get out just before it, all right? So now I'm going to kind of speed this up a bit. I am running on time, pretty going through time, if you will. It's moving quickly, guys.
Target.
Okay, so yeah, it looks pretty and it's great, but that's exactly how it was discussed in advance. And the whole thing there is how simple that really was, guys. It's not complicated. It's not complex. It's understanding the imbalances in the market, where they are, and then applying a strategic approach to getting in between them. Now, there's so much more to it, meaning how to read supply and demand in the market, but I don't have time to do all that today. And what I'm going to do now is, give me just 1 second, I'm going to try to get out to the live charts. So hang in there for just a second. Go ahead and get connected here. And it's almost time for our Q&A session here. So, but again, as you guys could see us walking through that, did you all notice how the zones were doing the work for us? So there's really, you know, we've developed it, guys, just so you know, we've been doing this for nearly a decade, and our software, you know, has been around the pungency of that time, so nearly since the beginning. You know, there's a reason for it, what we've done over the years. Let's see here, give me just 1 second. Okay, so let's take a look at real price, actual live data. This is literally real time happening as we speak. And let's just kind of look at what the software is telling us. Let's look at, just so you guys see what I was referring to earlier, let me just bring this over. So on the forum, you guys can kind of see, you know, where this was posted, you know, it was yesterday, like I said. And we were just saying, hey, look, please be aware specifically of the 27.1850 area. We also went ahead and defined this as that opportunity which I was just referring to. Okay, so we point all of this stuff out. You know, it was pointed out on the forum and so on, just so you guys are seeing what, you know, what we're seeing, and you can get the picture. All this fun good stuff. We then went on to just kind of post the outcome of it and all that. Okay, but anyway, so just want to bring that over real quick. We can go back to that, and so on that 27.1850s, right? Let's just take a quick look at what happened when we arrived there. Okay, so 27.1850 right in through here. Notice what's happened today in the market. All right, this was significant demand, you think? That's that level that we just pointed out. All right, it's very important. So understanding where those imbalances are in the market, it is indeed very crucial for what we do. So obviously we expected price to fall away from this area, and we had a very nice rally back up to it. So when price literally leaves in a vertical candle, guys, expectation, as we said, find the buyers below, rally from them, find the sellers above, decline from them. Okay, so we try to keep this very straightforward, very methodical. Our software here, as I said, lots of functionality. A lot of times, you know, people really like to get specific. So what we can do is use our order flow information, volume profile, if you will, and we can specify exactly where we want to enter based on the filled versus unfilled orders in the market at that supply or demand level. So a lot of things we can do here, as you guys can see. We can see all of the ratios. And again, this has been around for years and years. You know, we developed it, gosh, I can't even remember how many years ago, a long time ago, guys. And so, you know, these days I know you're seeing a lot of volume and order flow information, but we've done it the same way for a long time, and we keep it that way for a reason. So I know you've seen a lot, but understand that the way we're doing it is it's not that we're the only ones doing it, right? It's just that we want to stick to the way we've been doing it for many, many years and not change a single thing. Okay. All right. So let me take some time here, and maybe I'm going to pop you guys back over to the presentation slide here. I just really quickly want to talk about the community. This right here, what you're seeing is our training course. It's our material that's included in our yearly and lifetime community memberships. And so it is very extensive, lots and lots of times. I would say, I can't give you a definitive number, but I would say it probably takes about 30 plus hours to make it through. Lots and lots of material, lots of videos, quizzes even, all that fun stuff, again, included in the community. This is our live room, so each day you can pop into the live room, which is where we'll go through all of this in real time in advance, so you can see it, ask questions, tons and tons of stuff that you can, you know, whatever the question is. It doesn't even have to be related exactly to what we're doing at the moment. You could ask about, you know, something else, your platform. You could ask about just trading in general. Essentially any questions. Our goal, guys, is simply to be a community there for you. It's not to create clones. It's not to do anything other than do our best to help you. And at the end of the day, that's all we can do, okay? But I can assure you that we will absolutely, and by we I mean at least myself personally, I will go above and beyond to help anyone as long as they're helping themselves. And I hope that all of our members would agree with that, but I'll let them speak for themselves. All right, so pretty cool stuff, live room, forum, guys. This is awesome. This is what you were seeing a moment ago. It's where, you know, we have such a wonderful group of traders. These guys are posting all kinds of stuff all over the place. I love it. And so that's where they get to go in and they can even post and communicate with one another. They post questions in advance. Is this a trade? Is it not? Why did this one fail? Why did this one work? You know, potential upcoming trades. You get the picture. Pretty much anything. And again, it's all just because we're a community. We're there to help each other. It's not a dictatorship. It's a democracy, right? So anyway, just a little intro to what we have, what we offer. There's a lot more to it. Obviously, the software is included in all of our memberships. And so we'll take a look at that in a moment. Obviously, guys, as you know, we're in an event, so I'm going to throw an offer at you, and I'd be happy to offer this to you for the next 48 hours. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to give you some big sales pitch. If you want it, that's awesome. We would love to have you. Feel free to jump on there and communicate with all of our members and so on and so forth. If not, hey, look, I hope that we could have helped a little bit today. But anyway, that being said, all you'd have to do is use the promo code NINJA. That one's pretty easy, right? And I'll show you that. If you'll post, Juanita, would you mind posting? As a matter of fact, she already is. Excellent. So if you click that link there where Juanita just posted, guys, that's our supply demand trading community. That's where you'll see our different options. You know, if you want to take part in it, those are the discounts. I'd be more than happy to, as I said, offer those for the next 48 hours. You can join, get the software, get the live room, all of that for only $79. You can get the course and everything included for $7.99 a year or $29.99. It just is one time. That's complete, so you never have to pay again. Okay? All right, cool. So final slide there was just the PFA community and so on and so forth. I think now let's just take some time and answer some questions, okay? So how am I doing on time, Juanita? Am I okay here? Do I have, you know, maybe like 10 minutes or so? Is that okay?
You're doing great. You have about 10 minutes, yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's see what we can get done in 10 minutes, guys. So I'm gonna start now. Let me bring this down. Just hang in there. I'm gonna put it up over my screen here. Okay, so let me just try to scroll back to the beginning. Wow, you guys were really respectful of the time. Thank you so much for that. I noticed, but hopefully you'll have some questions now. Let me go down, Bob, yeah, I believe it was recorded. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Juanita's taking care of a lot of these questions already, so thank you very much for that. George, I was happy that I was able to get that screen sharing done for you. I wish that we had, you know, again, always wish we had more time. Ironically, our sessions have just been running, you know, like 2 to 3. Well, they typically run, you know, about 2 hours, but they've been running like in excess of up to 3 hours. You know, it's just been, we've been having a lot of fun. We'll put it that way. Or at least I have, you know. Yeah, also great that you got to see the software. That's awesome. And plenty more information on the website, guys. Check out the forum, the blog, tons of stuff. Just navigate around. I'm sure you'll see a lot of information. And absolutely that contact us link right there. Guys, please feel free to contact us. Any questions you have, anything at all. We'll be more than happy to help. You can get signed up for three free videos if you want. Just contact us, anything. We'll be happy to help any way we can. Let's see. Robert, similar, I don't know. I really don't know. I had this conversation with a gentleman the other day, and I couldn't tell you because from my understanding, for what I've been told, well, I don't know. I really don't know, Robert. But I would say probably in the fact that we're both buying and selling at certain locations. But I don't think so, because as far as being very similar, I think our methods are probably quite different, because we have a very specific methodology that we use. And also, you know, we have software, right? So our levels are going to be different. Yeah, so I would probably say that the only very similar aspect would be buying and selling at specific locations. How we arrive at those locations, though, probably different. We're very, very specific with how we do it. Yeah, absolutely, Omar. So that was NinjaTrader 8 that you were just seeing, by the way, fully compatible with the latest version of NinjaTrader. Absolutely wonderful relationship we have with those guys. And girls, of course. The Zone Suite software license. Yeah, so okay, great. Yeah, and oh, by the way, that promo code, guys, I think it might be case sensitive, so it's all lowercase, just Ninja lowercase. Do you call out trades in the room? So, Gene, it's very important. I'm glad you asked that. We are not a CTA or a registered broker or anything like that. So we're not a live trade call service, and I won't even really go there. Here's what we do. We analyze the markets. I point out the opportunities that I see for myself. Whether you guys, choose to take part in them, I couldn't really tell you. It's up to you. But I think overall, we're more focused on the community itself, right? And just trying to help people learn how to do exactly what we're doing. That's really the goal, the focus. But yeah, I don't really go at it as a live trade call service. Yeah. But like yesterday, for example, I know what you're getting at, and I think going through and seeing on the forum, I think that kind of addresses what you're trying to ask. Oh, Bill, that was very kind of you to say, man, and thank you so very much. I really do appreciate that, and thank you for your time too. The membership one is $7.99 for the next 48 hours for the year. Yeah, and it will include the course. It's you guys. It's I hope that you think it's a very good deal, but it's a lot of stuff for $799. Yeah. How was supply demand discovered? I honestly don't know. I can tell you this, Terry. Like for me personally, I kind of go back to the 80s, like the 70s and 80s, really like the 80s and early 90s is where a lot of the information that I found was from. It came from the floor of the exchanges. It's been around forever. These guys taught you, if you YouTube some videos like, floor trading and whatnot, they talk about supply and demand levels like just decades ago. Yeah, so it's been around a long time. It's just become marketable though. I don't know, we've been doing it for about a decade, but the difference is, we formulated a very specific approach to it. So we don't do anything like those guys do on the exchange, maybe we do and I just don't know it. I've never been on the, I didn't trade off of the floor or anything like that, so I wouldn't know, but I can tell you that that's, probably where I first heard it, Is the software going to be working the same way on different instruments? Yeah, it's absolutely. So those charts that you saw up, May, that was, we covered, like today, for example, I think we covered, goodness gracious, we probably covered 10 stocks. We covered a couple of spot markets and maybe a couple futures. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, they're all, it's all the same. Absolutely, Terry. Thank you for that. Yeah, definitely. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your kind words. Guys, does anyone else have any questions? Again, feel free to contact us after the webinar. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Just general questions. I can get with you via email. I could even set up a call if that's required. So I'll be happy to help any way that I can. Thank you, Juanita. I want to say again a special thank you to all of you guys, all you participants. It's been a wonderful time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can kind of see what we do. But most importantly, again, it's all about the community, all about the teamwork. And just learning how to do what we do and do it all together. God bless you all. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day and afternoon and night and good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Juanita.
I would like to give a special thank you to Will Busby of Pure Financial Academy for a great presentation today. Everyone in attendance here today will receive an on-demand recording of today's event. Please keep an eye out for that email. NinjaTrader ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope that you do attend them on a regular basis. And I am going to go ahead and throw our archive webinars as well as our webinar schedule in the room. We would like to remind you the information provided in this was that of Pure Financial Academy and not of NinjaTraders. All information was for educational purposes and should not be considered trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope we see you in the future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at the NinjaTrader ecosystem. Thank you again, Will. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.